What's up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding, and today will be a chest workout. But I just had my pre-workout, which throughout the years, I've been training for 14 years, I kind of know which kind of pre-workouts I like, but also that I pretty much take them every single day. Every single time that I work out, I take some kind of pre-workout, but I shouldn't be advising this to everyone, and it entirely depends on the kind. Let me explain. So this is my pre-workout stack for a chest day: Nitro Surge and Pump Surge. The biggest difference is this has stimulants like caffeine, and this has more of a pump product ingredients, such as citrulline and stuff like that. This also has that, but this in greater quantities, and no stimulants, which means you can take this later on during the day, because caffeine can stay in your system for like 8 hours. So even if you think that you're training in the afternoon and you then can't go to sleep, it could still be because of a pre-workout. So when you can't sleep properly, stick to a pre-workout like this. And on top of that, the flavor is incredibly amazing. What I told you guys about me taking pre-workouts every single day. So whenever I train in the evening, I take only Pump Surge. Right now I'm training chest. Sometimes I'm also just taking Pump Surge 2 scoops. But right now I'm taking this because I feel like I want to get a good workout in. And this definitely helps with that. So pineapple flavor combined with watermelon, just an exotic flavor combination which you should try. Link down below for the discount. Check it out and you support me at the same time, and yeah, let's train the chest. And with this pre-workout, we are doing a good old chest workout, starting with the bench press in the Smith machine. So I'm showing you one of my 5 warm-up sets with 100 kilos. Every single warm-up goes up in weight, but down in reps usually, so I don't waste any energy for the working sets that I'm about to do. So this is warm-up number 4 with 120. Usually I increase the weight with 10 kilos on each side, depending on your ending weight, of course. So this is working set number 1, 140 kilos, and I keep focusing more and more on the movement, on controlling the weight, going all the way down, feeding the stretch. And I'm showing you this angle because then you can actually see the working of the chest. You can see when I go all the way down, you can see that the chest is stretching out more, because I see some bodybuilders, they go down until their upper arm is parallel to the floor, and then they go back up with heavier and heavier weights. But most of the growth actually occurs in the bottom of the movement. So when the muscle is being stretched under load, that is when the biggest stimulus for muscle growth occurs. So you always want to go all the way down until you can't go any further, and it feels uncomfortable, then that's not the exercise for you. Because in all honesty, you should be able to go full range of motion with that muscle, just in general. So if the exercise makes that muscle hurt in the full stretch, then you should wonder whether the exercise is the correct one for you to use. So I'm doing 4 working sets now, and I've changed a little bit compared to previously, where I did 2 to 3 maximum working sets, but now I'm sticking to more working sets on exercises that I truly have a good connection with. So for example, on this bench press, I get a really good pump, I get a really good connection with the chest, I feel the stretch, I even feel the contraction will going up, all the way up. And that tells me that I should milk out this exercise as much as possible and not do other movements that I don't have a good connection with at all. So skipping, I like to do the decline bench press quite a lot back in the day, but I just don't feel as connected to that one as the regular flat bench press. And this is different for everybody. So the next one is the chest press with a neutral grip, or a hammer grip as I like to call it. So that means you can further squeeze the chest compared to the bench press we just did. because with this neutral grip and the both handles are converging as I press forward, that means my chest is able to squeeze even more. You might not be able to see it very clearly, but I am squeezing as hard as I can in the chest when I'm pressing out. So yes, you can see my arms going back and forth, but look at my elbows in the next set very carefully. So when I perform this movement, and without a shirt you can see it even better, the oversized shirt by vintagegenetics.com, link down below. But anyway, look at my elbows. I don't extend the arm all the way. So if you overextend the arm, the elbow actually goes more to the center of your body, and the inside of the elbow will be completely flat, and that is not what is happening here. It may seem like it, but what I'm trying to tell you guys, what the point of this little story is that I'm using the chest to move the weight. I'm not simply extending my arms, hoping my chest is going to be activated. I first activate the chest, and as a result, my arms are making this movement. That is the ultimate mind-muscle connection. It is even more apparent when training the back, for example, when you truly want to pull with your back, and pulling with your elbows helps a lot. So never think about the arms, always think about the muscle that you want to train, and the arms are simply an extension of the muscle. So your arms are there because in the chain of muscles they are connected to the chest and able to move that weight, but they are not the main reason why you're doing this exercise. You are doing this exercise for the chest. So a full squeeze and also a full stretch when going back down, making sure I get a very, very good pump in the chest and a very good squeeze with a lactic acid buildup as well. Remember, it's not only about hitting heavy weights, it's also about getting a pump and building up lactic acid in the muscles, because those factors will also play a role in muscle building in all aspects. So this is the incline dumbbell press. So it is very slight incline at about 15 degrees. If you look at the regular incline bench press bench in most gyms that are just stuck to like a barbell being there always, that incline bench press machine is probably in most gyms at 45 degrees, which to me is simply too steep of an incline to always do. Yes, it is good to do it sometimes if you get a good connection with it and the front delts aren't in pain, but if you truly want to hit mostly the chest without the front delts being too involved, try doing the slightest possible incline you can, and the only way to do that is with a bench. So you can actually adjust the incline on the bench to the slightest possible incline it can have, and then perform the bench press or the dumbbell press and just judge, feel how that feels on the muscle. You'll feel less front delt, more chest, more upper chest, and that is what we're working here, guys. The front delts will always be involved because it's almost impossible to get a lot of muscle ache in the chest and none at all in the front delts. It's, there are very intertwining muscle groups, so that's why I don't train the front delts separately at all, ever, basically. So maybe twice a year that I do it for fun, for a YouTube video, but other than that, never. So also here I'm doing at least 3 working sets to ensure that I'm getting good stimulus to muscle growth, because I have a good connection with that basic movement. And then, because I already did 3 movements with quite a lot of volume, I can finish everything off with just 1 working set on the cable flies. I'm going to failure. So when you're doing an isolation movement like this, you want to stay a bit higher in the rep range. Don't go below 10 on any isolation, in my opinion. If you do, then you should realize, okay, for the next set I should go quite a bit lighter to hit the 10 to 15 rep range at least. But with the cable flies, I go to about 12 reps here, go to failure, and then have rest pause number 1 and hitting like 2 to 3 more quality reps, making sure they are qualitative. and not quantitative. Yeah, I even hit 4, well, almost 4 reps here. So this will increase the amount of difficult reps I'm doing. So every rep that is very close to failure, only then will your muscle send a signal to the brain to make that muscle grow. It's always a synergy between the brain and the muscle. So if you're too many reps away from failure, for example, if you could still do 6 reps, there's almost going to be no signal in between the muscle and the brain to make that muscle grow. But if it's, at least, the more advanced you get, the closer you have to get to failure. But literature says if you're at least 5 reps away from failure, then there will be enough stimulus for muscle growth. But I've been training for 14 years, so my muscles are used to quite a lot of beating and working out. So I like to pretty much go to failure, or maybe 1 rep shy of failure, when it doesn't feel like I could do one more super high quality rep, or when I think it's a little too risky to do another one. And this is always my in between the chest and tricep exercise, the side dumbbell or lateral raise, always 2 working sets, around 20 reps each, and that will pump up the side delts enough. I do this twice a week to make those side delts grow. And then it's time for the triceps, and all this time I have been wearing these elbow sleeves, and these elbow sleeves, they help relieve some of the tension on the elbow when my forearm and my bicep are touching. The extra fabric in between the forearm and the bicep will alleviate some of the tension on the elbow. That is basically how it works. It's not really tight around my arm at all. It's literally there to provide that extra cushioning in between the lower and upper arm, and that has an effect of less tension on the elbow. That is kind of like physics 101 explained in a way that I don't even really understand, but I just know it works like that a little bit. And then we just finished working set number 1. I did 3 work sets here as well because it feels really nicely. It is an easy movement. It doesn't fatigue really a lot, so the rest time in between these is like a minute maximum, maybe a little more when I feel like I want to give it my all, that set. But just 3 working sets here with about 10 to 15 reps. Now this is a little clip I wanted to show you guys. So I wanted to do an overhead movement here, a unilateral one, but look at my upper arm. It is not straight at all. My anatomy is simply not built to do this exercise correctly, so it didn't feel that comfortable. The elbow started to hurt a little bit, so I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna try to do it seated like this. Maybe with a back support it'll be easier. As you can see, my arm is a bit straighter, but still, if you would look at me from the front, it would still be pointing to the side a little bit, which also kind of hurt the elbow. So what I decided to do then is skip those movements, guys, and go with a movement I know that doesn't really hurt my elbow a lot. So this overhead rope extension, and I've always been doing this for many years, and the reason why I'm doing an overhead movement is because then it hits the long head of the tricep more, and the rope pushdown we did before this hits the short head a little bit more, and the combination of the two, that hits the entire tricep. It always is an emphasis, guys. You can't isolate any of the tricep heads. It's always just a little bit more tension on one side of the muscle compared to the other when you're doing slightly different movements like this. But generally, an overhead movement targets the long head, and a push down, with rope, targets the short head a little bit more. So you always want to mix up movements like that in your workout. And in my opinion, doing like 3 different push downs or 3 different overhead movements would not be the wisest idea. If you do want to do a lot of volume with the triceps, I would recommend doing a push down first, then, for example, a close grip movement, like a close grip bench press for the medial head and the basic tricep mass, and then doing an overhead movement like this, which I will be doing in the future when I'm going to be doing even more volume for the triceps to make them grow. And again, with this movement, I'm also doing some rest pauses, because then I can hit failure a couple times more, and that's what I need to extend these sets for as much as I can, because small groups, muscle groups like triceps, they recover really quickly. They don't fatigue the entire body as much, so you can push them quite far to make those individual muscles grow. Alright guys, that was the video of the day. Of course, hitting some poses. All the clothing I'm wearing is available on vintagegenetics.com. Link down below for discounts for my supplements, for the clothing. And yeah, I want to thank you a whole lot for watching. A lot more content is coming now my computer is fixed. And don't forget to stay golden.